The penultimate episode of the final season of Game of Thrones involved a major battle at King's Landing, and things took a very dark turn. Here are 17 details you might have missed. And warning, spoilers are coming. Once again, in this episode, we saw the title sequence change. In this week's opening credits, one major change, we see scorpions, those giant crossbow-like weapons that Qyburn created to slay dragons, sitting atop the walls at King's Landing. The episode opens with Varys writing a letter about Jon Snow's true parents. It's a mirror of the letter Ned Stark wrote to Stannis Baratheon back in Season 1, exposing that Jaime Lannister is the true father of Cersei's children, not Robert Baratheon.
You will sail to Dragonstone tonight. You will place this in the hand of Stannis Baratheon.
Lord Baelish, like Tyrion to Varys in the last episode, tries to convince Ned to drop it and allow Joffrey to take the throne.
You would be wise to deny it to him and to make sure Joffrey succeeds.
And like Ned, Varys pays the price for his actions with his life. There appear to be multiple letters Varys is writing. Could he have sent them out already, and to whom would he have sent them? As Varys writes his letters, he's interrupted by Marta, a little girl acting as one of his spies. We've actually seen Marta before. She was hiding in the crypt along with Varys during the Battle of Winterfell in Episode 3. Back in Season 7, Episode 2, Dany tells Varys,
"If you ever betray me, I'll burn you alive."
Well, it's clear Dany made good on that promise. When Tyrion sets Jaime free to go rescue Cersei, Jaime says, "Cersei once called me the stupidest Lannister." That's a callback to Season 7, Episode 7.
Expedition North. I always knew you were the stupidest Lannister.
Cersei was berating Jaime for heading north to fight against the threat beyond the wall. This conversation was the last time Jaime and Cersei saw each other and takes place in the exact same spot where they were reunited as the Red Keep crumbled in this episode. More on Jaime's and Cersei's deaths in a bit. We get this scene of Dany's armies charging against the remaining Golden Company forces after a large chunk of them are blown away by Drogon's fire. The shot is a mirror image of the Battle of the Bastards when Jon is faced with an onslaught of men and horses. But unlike Jon's heroic fighting stance, Harry Strickland, the leader of the Golden Company, runs for his life. As Dany burns the outer wall at King's Landing, we see Cersei standing in the exact same spot she stood when she burned down the Sept of Baelor back in Season 6. Only this time, she's on the losing side. That Dany's dragon Drogon would fly over King's Landing was foreshadowed in Bran's vision in Season 4, Episode 2 as he touches the weirwood tree. Bran saw the shadow of a dragon above the rooftops. As the Hound attempts to convince Arya to leave the Red Keep instead of going to kill Cersei, he grabs her and shouts, "Look at me." The Hound does the same thing during the Battle of Blackwater in Season 2 with Sansa after she refuses to flee King's Landing with him. This shows the Hound's arc with the Stark daughters.
Look at me.
Clegane Bowl finally happened, which certainly comes as no surprise. But what is significant about the showdown is that the Hound dies with the zombified mountain by falling into the fiery city below. The Hound is deathly afraid of fire because his brother put his face into a fire when they were children. But as the show's producer describes it, the one thing stronger in the Hound than his fear of fire is the hatred for the person who put that fear there in the first place. In Season 3, Episode 9, as Arya and the Hound travel, Arya tells him,
"Someday, I'm gonna put a sword through your eye and out the back of your skull."
That's exactly what the Hound ends up doing to his brother, the Mountain. Game of Thrones is no stranger to the occasional celebrity cameo. Here we see Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers playing the role of a man in King's Landing, helping a woman who was injured. We hear a familiar composition at two different points during the episode. The Rains of Castamere plays once as Cersei realizes she must flee the Red Keep, and when Jaime and Cersei face certain death, it's a mix of that song with the Light of the Seven. It's a clue that these characters won't survive the episode. Season 3, Episode 9 is called The Rains of Castamere, and we hear the song during the famous Red Wedding. The Light of the Seven composition, though, refers back to Cersei's victory in Season 6. This episode saw the deaths of twins and lovers Cersei and Jaime Lannister experiencing one final embrace before the Red Keep collapses upon them. This moment was foreshadowed back in Season 5, when Bronn asks Jaime how he would want to die, and Jaime replies,
"The arms of the woman I love."
And it appears he does just that. There are other moments from the book that foreshadow this moment. In the books, Jaime says, "I cannot die while Cersei lives. We will die together as we were born together." And the show adapted this line from the book back in season 1.
Jaime and I are more than brother and sister. We shared a womb. Came into this world together, we belong together.
In season 2, episode 10, Dany had a vision upon entering the House of the Undying. She sees the throne room at King's Landing in shambles, with snow falling from above. Though we don't see it in this episode, the throne room is most certainly torn apart. But that falling snow looks a lot like the ashes falling from the sky. Could this be what Dany saw in the prophecy way back then? Or is the snow a reference to Jon Snow sitting on the throne after she wreaks havoc at King's Landing? Bran also sees a similar image of the throne room in his season 4 vision. Finally, we see a white horse standing in the middle of the ruins of King's Landing. Arya rides the horse out of the city. White horses in mythology often symbolize triumph, but in Christianity, they can also herald death, like in the Book of Revelation. Or is this a reference to Shadowfax in Lord of the Rings?
Shadowfax is the lord of all horses.
It's also worth noting that the young girl Arya is unable to save is holding on to a little white horse. Did we miss anything? Let us know in the comments.